Bring in show music, please.
Hi, I'm CNBC producer Katie Kramer. Today on Squawk Pod, the meme king. Ryan Cohen, GameStop's CEO, has legendary status among social media-fueled retail traders.
You can post an emoji of something and people go crazy.
We have a loyal shareholder base, clearly.
He joins us in a rare interview on his reinvention of the once left-for-dead video game retailer.
We're a much more profitable business, smaller business, less stores, very strong balance sheet.
And Ken Langone, one of the founders of Home Depot, the philanthropist behind NYU Langone, and a major donor to Andrew Cuomo in his bid for New York City mayor.
He's the right ticket. Now, he didn't do himself justice by his mindset in the primary. He should have worked his ass off, and he didn't.
Plus, Nvidia to sell chips in China. And Starbucks office workers, time to get back to your desks.
It's 2025. Why weren't they at 5 days a week in 2023? Why?
It's Tuesday, July 15th, 2025. Squawk Pod begins right now.
Stand Becky by in 3, 2, 1. Cue it, please.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Squawk Box right here on CNBC. We're live at the NASDAQ market site in Times Square. I'm Becky Quick along with Joe Kernen and Andrew Sorkin.
The big story of the morning, semiconductor Nvidia planning to resume sales of a key AI chip to China. The company saying it's filing applications with the U.S. government to restart sales of its H20 graphics processing unit and expects to get the licenses soon. Nvidia has been saying that it introduced a new model designed to meet Chinese tech regulations. Now, Chinese tech stocks popping on the back of this news. The development's coming days after Nvidia's CEO Jensen Huang meeting with President Trump back in April. You might remember the White House imposed export restrictions that stopped Nvidia from selling the H20 to China. The move at the time prompted the company to write off $5.5 billion in inventories. Huang is currently on his second visit to China in about 3 months. He's now expected to hold a media briefing tomorrow. But of course, this raises just about a million questions because the first one starts with what happened between April and now. Mm-hmm. If these chips really were a national security threat to us, why should we be giving them over now?
Well, nobody knows.
Is it part of a larger trade negotiation truce with rare metals and other things? And we need, we need the metals, they need the chips.
Or TikTok.
Or TikTok, or tariffs.
We're all trying to find our way into what the right balance is between, helping AI advance and not having China lead the world.
Well, so that's the question. And by the way, if you let Nvidia do this, maybe that then hurts a Huawei temporarily, or something like that.
Huawei
that's why there's so many sort of push-pulls here.
Yeah, there are, and I don't know, and I'm not willing to immediately say, wow, Jensen's friends with Trump, and this is a carve-out and whatever.
There's a lot of
because I don't know what the right.
There's a huge view that's been not only put forth by Jensen, but about a lot of other people in the industry, that if America wants to be the leaders, you have to be able to sell around the world, that Huawei stepped in to fill that void. Look, there's the argument that this is great for America in terms of leading AI, but there's also the argument that if it was so great for America, China wouldn't want to let them do this unless they actually thought our chips were that much better. So.
Right, and so the question, our chips are that much better.
Yeah.
And so they wouldn't have access to these chips otherwise. And Huawei chips are not as good yet. The great mother of invention is forcing Huawei.
Sure, but you can't continue to be the world leader if you can't sell everywhere.
Well, except into China. I mean, if you think one day that Huawei would create chips that are that great, but right now...
And by the way, these are different chips. The H20 was originally created to try and make sure that it was not going to be able to do some of the terrible things militarily that others had pointed to. So that's the question.
The only thing that I don't understand about this is we've had so many people come on our air repeatedly and say, China's a national security threat to our country. These chips present a security threat. If we let them actually move ahead and be able to dominate or even get close to us in AI. And I think DeepSeek, if everybody remembers that moment earlier this year, frankly, at the end of January.
It was February, I think. End of January, beginning of February.
It was January because it happened during Davos.
We're obviously not going to stop all trade with China because they're a security threat. So then somewhere in between is some type of trade relationship we have with China.
I'm not going on the friend of Trump thing either. I'm just saying, what is the...
Who knows? I don't know.
What is the balance?
We probably shouldn't have any. Kyle Bass and others would probably say don't have any relationship. Others like
again brings you back to
your buddy Paul Tudor. No, who's the one that just loves China? One of those guys is Ray Dalio. He give them everything they've ever asked for just to make a few more dollars. There.
I mean, the real question I want to know is what are we going to get for this?
Right, I think if you're talking security threats, it brings you back to TikTok, which Congress passed a ban on, and we are now months into extensions of saying, okay, we're going to continue to try and do a deal with them. But there have been people for years in Congress who have said that TikTok is a threat to national security because of the influence that it has, especially on younger people here.
A $5 trillion market cap and a continued rally in the NASDAQ.
It's not $5 trillion yet. It's right. It's $4 trillion.
What do we get for it? And I said that's what we get. Maybe we get a $5 trillion market cap and a NASDAQ that continues to climb.
But I think Becky's point about TikTok is the right one ultimately because we have a law even in place. I mean, we have actually Congress have voted.
No one wanted to close TikTok down, right?
Apparently, all of Congress who represents us,
though.
Legally, they did.
Well, they didn't want Chinese ownership. They wanted it to be sold. So they didn't want it to continue under Chinese ownership. The question is, do you get a sale of that? Is there some détente or truce? And is this a sign of a broader thawing of the trade relations between the two countries at this point, too?
China's here to stay. They're going to take over the world, and we're helpless to stop them, but we've got to trade with them.
That's your position?
Yes.
As expected, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo now launching an independent bid for mayor, setting up a rematch with the frontrunner, Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic nominee. We're going to get into that race and everything else. So many topics with the one and only Ken Langone, Home Depot's co-founder and somebody who, as we always say, never holds back. We're going to have him on the broadcast. Starbucks is going to start to require corporate employees to return to the office 4 days per week. That's going to start in October. Joe is going to get his Kleenex.
I'm going on a picket line.
In a letter to employees, company CEO Brian Niccol saying workers who prefer to leave the company instead of heading back to the office for an additional day would be offered a one-time voluntary exit program with a cash payment. I don't know if you get free coffee with that.
And don't let the door hit you.
He wrote the following. He said, quote, "We understand that not everyone will agree with this approach. We've listened and thought carefully, but as a company built on human connection and given the scale of the turnaround ahead, we believe this is the right path for Starbucks." Back in October, you might remember Starbucks telling workers they were at risk of being fired if they didn't return to the office 3 days per week. And of course, the sympathy is here on a set where we come 5 days a week is a little bit complicated.
It's 2025, Andrew. It's 2025.
Actually, Starbucks is doing this the nice way by saying you can get this one-time offer where you get a cash payout because all these other companies are doing it and saying, hey, you either have to come in or you have to quit and you're not going to get a payout. So Starbucks is actually doing this the nicer way by saying you can get a cash payout. There was just an article last week, I forget where it was, talking about how some companies are doing this as a way to bring in layoffs and not actually have to pay any severance payments.
Andrew Cuomo was governor, had a thing every day talking about COVID. He had to resign, COVID ended. Now he's back running. All these things have happened since we had the pandemic.
You knew this would eventually happen.
It's 2025. Why weren't they at 5 days a week in 2023? Why?
Their workforce has moved all over the place. And by the way, Brian Niccol lives in California.
Right, that's also the complicated part.
He lives in Newport Beach. I know right? Where he lives.
When you're flying to work, how does that work?
I know. It's not you know what? The world's not fair. It's just not. It's never going to be, Andrew.
Cheese will be next.
Coming up on Squawk Pod, one of the leaders of the meme stock movement. Remember the GameStop short squeeze? Co-founder of Chewy turned social media stock trading sensation during the pandemic turned CEO of GameStop, Ryan Cohen, joins us with yet another offbeat market. This time, it's for a stapler and something less safe for work.
I'd originally said 6 figures. I'm going to throw in my underwear.
Your dirty underwear?
Do you believe the underwear is going to advance the price?
Welcome back to Squawk Pod. I'm producer Katie Kramer. Remember meme stocks? When Robinhood, Redditors, and a roaring kitty all walked into a video game store and turned stock market conventional wisdom upside down? The revolution in trading during the long pandemic winter of 2020 and 2021 saw nostalgic brands popular in turn of the millennium malls like GameStop and AMC theaters become absolute winners. Fueled by internet personalities and message boards, millions of regular investors bought shares in the fading brick-and-mortar retailer GameStop, driving the company's share price from under $3 to nearly $500 in weeks, a 1,500% rally. The collective power of so-called little guys caused hedge funds that had shorted GameStop to lose billions. One of the mysterious leaders of this movement was Ryan Cohen, 30-something investor, best known as co-founder of pet supply company Chewy. He was GameStop's biggest individual shareholder by the end of 2020, and his mercurial, almost coded language, social media presence became a guiding force for a new generation of meme-savvy, irreverent stock buyers. There's a lot of GIFs and poop emojis, some considerable bathroom humor, heat tweets, melting ice cream cones, and an army of Redditors interpret what that means for McDonald's business strategy. At the height of the meme craze, Cohen became a board member at GameStop, then chairman, and in 2023, CEO, all while amassing considerable stakes in other brands like meme stock Bed Bath & Beyond, Apple, and about $1 billion of Chinese e-commerce giant Alibaba. But he is working to reinvent GameStop as the industry becomes increasingly digital. No need to wait in line at the mall when the newest game release is just a click away. The retailer is investing heavily in Bitcoin and pivoting to the booming collectibles market. And here's how we got to Cohen's appearance on our TV broadcast today. He rarely does press and hasn't been on CNBC formally since the Chewy IPO in 2019. But Cohen is using his internet celebrity for his company, auctioning off an infamous stapler that damaged a Nintendo Switch at a GameStop store last month. Staplegate meets the meme king, and we're off. Andrew Ross Sorkin takes things from here.
This morning, we are talking to GameStop CEO Ryan Cohen, who's a little bit behind some of this. Ryan, great to see you. It's been a while. What is going? I have about 1 million questions about what's going on with GameStop and your investments and everything else, but let's start with the stapler. It's up to what, $250,000 right now?
Yes.
So
we had our store in Staten Island on launch day, and the store manager took the stapler and stapled it into the Switch. So we damaged the Switch, we refurbished it, and now we're auctioning off the stapler, the Switch, and the actual and the basically it turned it into a collectible. So it's right now $250,000. I'd originally said 6 figures. I'm going to throw in my underwear. We've surpassed that, obviously. And now 7 figures. If we get the 7 figures, I'll personally deliver the underwear in Miami, and we'll take a trip to McDonald's together.
Your dirty underwear?
Do you believe the underwear is going to advance the price? And are you going to sign the underwear?
I will sign the underwear. Whether it will advance the price or not, I'm not sure. We'll see.
And just so we're clear, is this, you said a trip to, it's a trip to Miami, or they got to pick it up in Miami where you live?
I will fly them to Miami, and McDonald's is on me.
And McDonald's, how much stuff can they get at McDonald's?
Whatever they want.
Wow. I mean, I could order a lot at McDonald's. I don't know if I could get up to the price, though. Before we even go farther, who do you think is bidding on this?
I don't know.
Are you, though, fascinated by this sort of fascination with GameStop and with you? I mean, the fact that people would want your underwear? I don't do a lot of interviews where I ask about the underwear, Ryan.
It's a nice underwear.
What kind?
No. Okay, let's move on.
Only the winner is going to find out.
Only the winner is going to find out. Ryan, let's talk about where GameStop sits right now, and in terms of just where you are on the journey. And I mean, I remember talking to you 1 million years ago, obviously during the sort of GameStop frenzy. But Where are you from then to now?
We're a much more profitable business, smaller business, less stores, very strong balance sheet. We are, we've gotten our costs under control, and we've changed the business from a reliance on hardware and software to a significant focus on trading cards and collectibles generally.
And where?
Yeah.
And how do you think about crypto in the middle of all that?
We made an investment of just over $500 million into Bitcoin, and I look at it as a hedge against inflation and global money printing, and we'll see what happens. So.
But how much should people who are investing in GameStop think of you as some kind of like portfolio of assets and maybe even like a mini micro strategy or something?
No, I mean, we have our own unique strategy, and we have a very strong balance sheet, over $9 billion of cash and marketable securities. And we will deploy that capital responsibly as I would my own capital, and only look for opportunities where the downside is limited and there's a lot of upside. So we'll be opportunistic when we see those opportunities.
Well, I'm curious what you think of your shareholder base these days, again, because I think so many people think about the shareholders during what was this GameStop frenzy, and just your ability to take to X or social media and get people, as I said, excited about what you're doing and how you think about that. It's very unusual. Well, it's just unusual. I mean, you and maybe Elon Musk, and I don't know if I should put you in the same category, but have sort of a very special ability to have this sort of fan following that's sort of very unusual. You can post an emoji of something and people go crazy.
We have a loyal shareholder base, clearly. I don't think there's many situations of public companies where the CEO receives absolutely no compensation and is, I mean, you can never be completely aligned with common shareholders because everyone has a different cost basis and has a different time horizon, but I don't get compensated. I've invested my own personal capital. I don't have any perverse incentives, and the goal is to maximize shareholder value. So, you see these public companies where you've got executives and they're collecting tens of millions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars in risk-free compensation, and frankly, it's despicable. And so that's not the way that I run GameStop.
I actually have a broader question about investors, since I think you have an unusual relation with them. We've been talking on the broadcast for the past couple of weeks about this push towards folks who are tokenizing effectively private companies, shares in private companies, to what might be described as unaccredited investors, so people who have less than $1 million. There's a big argument being made that we need to democratize investing, that the real opportunities are in private investments, and that these sort of derivative instruments are a great opportunity. There's other people who say this is crazy, and we have regulations for a reason, and for some reason they're not being applied or at least listened to in this context. What do you think about all of that?
I don't have much of an opinion on it. I haven't looked into it, so
the reason I ask is
intelligent to say on the topic.
Okay. No, the reason I ask is more just about sort of the opportunity set for traders today, and sort of the opportunity to make money in these unusual, I don't know if they're unusual, but different ways, and this idea of democratizing investing, which I think a lot of people look to what you've done and think that this is about democratizing opportunity.
I think that there's a lot of risk in investing, period, especially in individual securities. And I don't give out investing advice. And I've always said the best thing to do for for most people is to invest in low-cost ETFs, and you can lose a lot of money investing, and you have to have the right temperament for it. Right. So it's for the very few. But in terms of people being allowed to invest in whatever the hell they want, people should be allowed to invest whatever the hell they want, and they take on those risks. And so, I mean, that's generally my point of view, but understand that it comes with significant risk and volatility, and you got to have the right temperament and do your own diligence.
Are you still a passive investor in Apple and Netflix and I think Wells Fargo at one point?
Yeah.
And what's your take?
In Apple and in Wells Fargo.
So in terms of Apple, obviously there's been a lot of questions about Apple and AI and where they sit in terms of the stack relative to so many other players. Do you look at that as a value play at this point? Do you think it's oversold? What's your take?
I think it's the strongest brand in the world. You look around you, everyone is glued to their iPhones and people aren't switching devices. They can do a much better job in artificial intelligence. There's no question. Siri is the same thing that it was 10 or 15 years ago. And, there's definitely an opportunity for them to improve in AI, but they own the ecosystem and they've got a very strong, enviable business.
Do you think they need to be super strong in AI, or that can just be a layer from somebody else on top?
Only if they can make money.
You mean only if they can make money from the hardware part, or you're saying only if they can make money from folks who are paying them to be the layer on top?
Yeah, it's not clear who the winners in AI is going to be ultimately. You look today, ChatGPT is clearly number one, but we'll see if they can ultimately develop a real mode in AI, or ultimately once everyone's models are at the same level, how much pricing model there will be between the different languages and the different models is TBD. So I think everyone's trying to figure out long term, how do you monetize AI? There's no question AI is incredibly disruptive, but who the long term winners are going to be is I don't have a point of view at this point on who's going to be able to ultimately create a durable competitive advantage in the space.
You do have a lot of money in Alibaba, so I imagine you think that they have a credible claim in the AI world, or maybe it doesn't matter?
We're supposed to be talking about GameStop.
I'm just curious where you land. Well, let me ask you, in terms of trading cards, maybe it goes to crypto and trading cards. Do you think that crypto and trading cards ever go together in some kind of digital way that we don't know about?
It could.
In what way? Give me a little more.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But there's opportunities.
Can you tell us about those opportunities in terms of just how to think about it for the investors or even the customers of GameStop right now? Like what to expect?
There's an opportunity to buy trading cards and to do so using cryptocurrency. So we'll see how much there is on the actual demand side for that kind of product. But there's definitely an opportunity to actually use crypto in the space. And the utility of crypto beyond and investing is a hedge against inflation. I think that so far that's been the biggest demand for crypto. And so the ability to actually use crypto within transactions is something that is an opportunity. And it's something that we're looking at.
Is that Stablecoins? Is that Ethereum? Or are you thinking people are going to actually use Bitcoin to pay for things?
We're going to look at all cryptocurrencies.
Okay. Ryan, we're going to leave it there. We appreciate it. We wish you lots of luck today with this big auction. We hope that you make a lot of money for charity. And if somebody wants the stapler and the underwear and McDonald's, you can go out and get it this morning.
Are you going to place a bet?
Well, you might have priced me out already because we're at what are we at, 250? It might be going up as we're talking. So I don't, if it had been at 250, I think that would have been a steal. 249, okay. 700. But
it's not too late. You've got about a day left.
I got a day left. I may do a GoFundMe page to see if I can maybe crowdsource some money to put together for our trip to McDonald's. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Next on Squawk Pod, investor Ken Langone does not mince words. He joins us for an extended discussion on the markets, the Fed, politics, and his remarkable run.
You're one of the founders of Home Depot, and it's one of the few companies that has been founded and in your lifetime turned into a Dow component.
I know.
Which is pretty remarkable.
That's 30 years ago we went into the Dow. We went into the Dow in 1990. That's a hell of a feat.
You're listening to Squawk Pod from CNBC with Joe Kernen, Becky Quick, and Andrew Ross Sorkin. Here's Becky.
All right. We have a big special guest on set with us for an extended conversation this morning. We are very happy that Ken Langone is here. Of course, he's the Home Depot co-founder. He's currently chairman and president of Invamed Associates. And Ken, it's been far too long. We have missed you. We've been looking forward to what you have to say this morning.
I thought you were doing what they do with the Indians, taking them out to a tree and say, die there.
No, we've missed you. And we've been working a long time to try and get a date worked out.
I know.
You see, we're all here.
I know, you're survivors. I'm impressed.
Andrew's here today.
And you haven't killed each other yet.
Yeah. Wow. Sometimes Andrew would not be here when you just by coincidence.
And I think there's hope for Andrew.
I've noticed that too.
I had a nice chat with him last week.
Yeah.
And I honest to God think he's moving to see the light. He's all this goodness.
Look at the alternative. Look at what the other side has become. I mean, come on.
He's naive, but he's not dumb. He sees what reality is. Okay?
Naive, not dumb. I'm gonna put that on my
on
my tombstone. Naive, but not dumb.
Boy, you're certainly not dumb.
I still want on my epitaph.
I wish I had your gray matter.
Really long.
That's really Warren, right?
Really old age. Yeah, that's what Warren always says. Ken, why don't we just talk about how you're feeling right now, what you see in the economy, what you see happening in the markets, what you think about the country, because it's been so long since we've gotten to check in with you.
If I told you how bullish I was, you wouldn't believe it. I have never been more excited about the future of America than I am right now.
Why?
This time. For a lot of reasons. Number one, like it or not, this guy's getting things done.
This guy meaning President Donald Trump?
Trump. He's a little pissed off at me because I had the audacity to say that on television about a few months ago that I was worried about it. If he won, that he'd engage in retribution. I'm happy to say I'm comfortable he's not doing that. He's acting presidential. I'm impressed with the people he's got around him. I had a nice chat with Kevin Warsh last week, and part of my positivity comes from my discussion with him. And you might have heard him on television. I think the American people are waking up. I think the world is a mess, but I think it's coming more to our direction than it was. I think that strike in Iran had significant symbolic meaning for the world, that America's here, and when our interests are at risk, we're going to do something about it. On the other hand, I'm terribly, terribly disturbed with the anti-Semitism that's going on in America, particularly among young people. That scares me. And I'm vocal about it. I'm very vocal about it because so much of my life has evolved around Jews, all to the good. Doctors, friends, business partners, you name it. And I don't understand the Jews sometimes, though. 30% of the Jewish vote voted for this guy last week in New York.
Mamdani.
After what he said? I mean, give me a break. I'm telling you, I got hope for this kid. This kid, we're going to have him in a tent pretty soon. What else? I think that this big, better bill, whatever the hell I call it.
One big, beautiful bill.
Right. I was worried about inflation, and I was worried about the deficit. I think there's a lot of merit to the notion that it's going to trigger such significant economic growth that we might see tax revenues going up through the profitability factor. And the other last thing is you can't keep America down. Don't forget that. We're the greatest country on earth, and we'll always will be, and you just can't keep us down. And I'm looking forward to my 90th birthday in a couple of months.
Happy almost birthday.
Thank you, and I'm excited about it. I just wish I could figure a way out to live 90 more years because I think the best is yet to come. What more can I say?
You're like, in my view, you're like a walking George Bailey. If there was no Ken Langone in the world, it'd be a different place.
Oh yeah, oh God, come on.
In a good way.
I'm an accident.
Langone Medical Center. I can't turn on
that's
TV
something.
without hearing Langone.
Let me tell you.
Look what you've done in your life, Ken.
If there's anything
It's
that's
unbelievable.
given me more satisfaction, other than my family and my wife, it's the medical center. I mean, what that place,
would hope
that
so.
place is crushing it like you can't believe. This guy that we had the wisdom to pick the leaders, Bob Grossman.
Right.
He's fabulous. And look at
new.
where we stand. Yeah, I mean, the thing I really love the most is when people from other medical institutions call us and say, can we come to New York and sit with you? We'd like to know how you guys did it. We were on our ass. Don't forget, when I took this job 26 years ago, we were...
As the chairman.
As
at
chairman.
NYU.
We were 68th or 69th. Number one now.
And I think you've poured, maybe I'm wrong, I think about $400 million of your own money into the place, not
I
to
got
mention
more
the
than that.
fundraising. Oh, so it's even more than that.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fundraising that you've done to bring in additional
Well-
money. What is it besides the money that has to be done to...
People. It's always the people. Why is Home Depot doing such a great job? The people. Why does Jamie have a fabulous company? Every place you touch, J.P. Morgan, great people. By the way, I own a lot of stock, so if I say nice things, I got an axe to grind, all right? Full disclosure, right? There's a spirit in the place that won't quit. They believe they can do things and get things done, and that's the first thing you want to do with people, is encourage them to believe they can do so much more than they realize they can do. And that place, and I mean, I brag about it for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is it's all true.
Well, I have to say, you're one of the founders of Home Depot, and it's one of the few companies that has been founded and in your lifetime turned into a Dow component.
I know.
Which is pretty remarkable.
That's 30 years ago we went into the Dow. We went into the Dow in 1990. I mean, it's a hell of a feat. Look, I had great Paul Arthur and Bernie who were fabulous. I mean, here's an example when I talk about anti-Semitism. Take these two guys out of my life. I have a totally different life, not better. But anyway, back to the medical center, we're hitting on all cylinders. It's unbelievable. And by the way, we're making money. We're making good money. People will scratch their heads when they see our margins.
What are your margins? Because typically hospitals
About 6 or 7%.
1 to 2% is a typical hospital.
Let me tell you something. We're hitting on all cylinders. We start our nurses, you ready, at $130,000 a year. Wow. Yes, we want the best, and we're willing to pay for the best, and we're getting the best. It's like Home Depot, what we do with our people and that. I mean, it's always about the people.
Let me ask you just where you see the American consumer right now, where you see the housing market, because Mark Zandi put out a note yesterday that said he thinks that there should be red flares on the housing market right now if interest rates don't come down. He's worried it's going to bring down home sales, home building, and even home prices as a result. What do you think? Because that's an important part of Home Depot's business.
I was a firm believer a while ago that we needed higher rates. I don't think we need higher rates.
We needed it a while ago to combat inflation, but you're not worried about it at this point.
Inflation, what, 2.1? That's the latest number? I'm not worried about inflation now. I think we've got in fact, the article in the journal yesterday had the recession fears are
from the
abating.
economists.
Right.
Yeah.
From the economists.
We need to worry. They're getting more.
Survey.
Yeah, they're getting happier.
more positive.
That's bad.
I think there is an argument that can be made for lower rates. I listened to Kevin Walsh the other day, and he makes good sense. So I do believe if you lower rates, this is going to be one more leg to this prosperity. Housing starts will go through the roof. People will buy homes again. One of the things I've been focusing on is I've been buying real estate in Florida. I love Florida. I don't want to live there permanently, but I love it. Everything works in Florida.
You've lived there 6 months in a day?
No, I don't play that game. I'm staying. Let me tell you why I'm not playing that game. My mom and dad were working people. My father was a plumber. My mother worked in the school cafeteria. If they were alive, they could not afford the option of moving to Florida. What happens to all my mothers and fathers, the people like them, if everybody like me picks up and moves south? What are we leaving them? What are they going to do? And I pay a lot of taxes, thank God, because if you're paying it, you're making it.
Right.
Right. They haven't figured a way out how to tax losses. They'll get around to that, but they haven't done it yet.
Yeah, they will.
But I just think it's like one more charity.
So you're talking about anti-Semitism. It just made me try to figure out the genesis of how bad it's gotten, and I immediately thought about, I don't want to blame colleges, I don't want to blame Ivy League, I don't want to blame, I don't know where it goes, but some of the blame goes there.
A lot of the blame.
A lot of the blame. So you're talking about Trump being one of the great presidents. I look, and Andrew's made valid points about what the administration has done with Harvard and how sort of off the mark maybe some of the stuff is. With Columbia, and then you said you didn't see any retribution with law firms. There's a lot of things that Trump has done that has caused half the country to think he's the worst president in history, where you just said he's going to be one of the great presidents. How do we...
History will dictate that. Retrospectively, you'll make that decision.
Has he gone too far with Harvard?
Well, let's talk about retribution generally. The most recent famous situation is Brennan and
Clapper.
Do you realize what they did to this man for 4 years?
No,
They threw every single thing they could at him because he was an adversary. This case in New York with these 34 charges against him,
right.
And that judge,
Bragg,
the judge for that
right,
trial,
Merchant.
He was patently.
So two wrongs don't make a right, though, Ken.
No,
right?
I don't think calling Brennan and Comey in and saying, okay, guys, here you said, in papers that we've now released, here it said you wanted this report in, and you go to Congress and you said, I insisted they not be in.
Right.
Which is the truth.
Right. But get back to, because we're going to get to Mamdani and how we got here. So for decades, universities have hired their own sort of progressive thinkers, and I don't know whether progressive thinkers were anti-Semites all along. Where did that come from? How did? And you look at some of the protests. Where do these tens of thousands of people come from?
Understand something. I give credit to the kid or the person that says, "Look, I'm not anti-Semitic. I just don't like what the Jews are doing in Gaza."
Okay.
Now, when they say that, too many people say, aha, you're anti-Semitic. That's not so, okay? I think you may push back on this, but I think there's merit to saying enough of killing civilians in the Gaza Strip, okay? When is enough enough? Well, I think we've had enough.
No, by the way, I think that's it's a fair point.
Early on, you made
People
that.
can debate that point. That's
Okay.
a valid issue. The conflation of the two, and then when you get to Mamdani saying, globalize the Intifada, that's when I think.
Well, that's the whole point. Look, but I think it's wrong to conclude that somebody's an anti-Semite if they say the Jews are wrong in what they're doing in Gaza. I think they're two totally unrelated things. And I give those people a lot of credit for taking their stand. I think that too much of what's happened in America on campuses has been, rather than education, but indoctrination. I'm right now, in fact, I've got a meeting this afternoon. I'm negotiating with Bucknell. I want to create an institute of free speech at Bucknell. And here's what I want to do. I'll fund it. I want to take a category, economics. I want to get a liberal and I want to get a conservative. I want them to be resident. The one will be resident in the first semester. The other will be resident in the second semester. The kids have to sign up for both courses, and they're going to hear both points of view. Now, here's where I want to pay $500,000 a semester per lector.
To get the right person.
Oh, boy.
Right.
You think of the people that will apply and say, hey, how do I get a nice apartment, a driver, secretarial help, transportation back and forth.
Right.
twice or 3 times in a semester.
Let me ask you this, because we were talking about universities
Right.
and what
Right.
this administration has done to try to
Right.
move the needle or push things around. You're also somebody who has given an extraordinary amount of money to NYU
Right.
and has done amazing things for
Right.
healthcare and medical
Right.
care in this city. And so I'm curious how you think about the cuts to the NIH, to
Biggest mistake
to
in the world.
scientific education, and to the extent you have a take on RFK, I don't know. But those are the other sides of this coin, right?
The screwing around with the NIH is a huge mistake. So much good has come out of discovery from the NIH and funding that the NIH gave out. If there was one thing that I would make sacred that can't be touched, it would be the NIH budget. Answer your question? Mm-hmm. Now, on the other hand, we all know, away from the NIH, leave it alone, there's waste all over. We got to fix it. You've heard me say this before. What the hell am I doing? My check now from the government, Elaine and me, is over $5,000 a month. We give it to charity, but the point is, what the hell am I getting a nickel for?
Right.
I won huge.
Right.
Take it away from me. In fact,
This is your Social Security check, you're saying?
yeah, I called Frank Pisichiotto the day he got appointed. Frank, I got your first job for you. Stop sending me checks. I shouldn't get a
Means
check.
testing for Social Security so that you make the program more robust
Take
for others who need the money.
fat cats, call me whatever the hell you want. Take the fat cats out of the equation. Guys, you won big. Okay, we said you're getting your own money back. It isn't your money. It's one more tax. Sorry, America needs to fix this now for the benefit of all the people. That's how the basis on which we pass laws. So, and I'm sure if you go to Lost Tree, where I live, where there's a lot of wealthy people like me, I'm getting my own money back. It's my money with a contract they made with me when I started working. Stop it. Stop it.
Right.
It's now, and increase the retirement age by 2 years. You fix it.
Right.
20 years from now, and you still can't do that. How about you're friends with Cuomo?
I'll tell you why. Cuomo called me up and said he was sick of running. I said, Andrew, stop. I'm going to help you. In spite of the fact, I know I whipped his ass. He took over the Spitzer case. Spitzer would have gotten it instead, but Cuomo got it instead. We beat him 7-0.
Yeah.
Every judge, they're all Democrat. Every judge on the Court of Appeals voted in favor of Dick and me.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so I said, Andrew, I'll tell you why I'm helping you. You want to get back in the game. You're never going to get back in the game unless you get a position where you can make things happen and show people what you can get done. I'm betting on you for one reason. You're cornered, and this is your way out, and you're going to work like hell. Now, frankly, from what I hear, he didn't work very hard in the primary. He didn't campaign that much. I know a lot of people that gave a lot of money that really are.
Why do you think he didn't do that?
Because I thought his name was enough to carry him. That this kid was a joke, and hey, I'll beat this. Who the hell is this kid? This crazy kid? Free subways, free this, free that.
Doesn't mean this kid's not a joke.
I mean, that's the whole point.
Right.
But he took him for granted.
Right.
Now, I think he had a wake-up call.
And do you think he has a chance now? I mean, the real question is, should Andrew Cuomo step aside? To the extent that they're going to have to figure, if somebody is going to give Mondami a run for his money, and right now, by the way, neither of them seem to be, based on what Polymarket and others are suggesting, does Adams have to step down? Does Cuomo have to step out?
Adams, to me, has the least likely chance of winning of the three of them.
Because
I think we've had 4 years of him, and he's a lovely man. But he's over his head. It's a big job.
Now, he was on our show last week,
He's a lovely man,
a week
by the way.
ago,
He's a gentleman.
and said that he was a little offended that Cuomo came to him and said that he should drop out of the race. He said, wait a second, I'm the sitting mayor. You already lost to Mondami. Why in the world should I drop out?
Because, believe it or not, in spite of the fact he lost to Mondami, don't forget, that primary is kind of a rigged jury. Yeah. Come on. The teachers union turns up with 100,000 votes. That's the selection of your mayor. I think that Cuomo has the best chance one-on-one of beating this guy. More importantly, I think if Cuomo wins, he's got to prove something. He's got to get some things done. He's got to be able to say, not only did I get elected, but look at what I did and fixed it. There's so many things in New York that need to be fixed, that can be fixed, that must be fixed. He's the right ticket. Now, he didn't do himself justice by his mindset in the primary. He should have worked his ass off, and he didn't. But history's history. You can't change it. All right.
Okay, we got to go. Ken Langone, the
Great
one
to
and
have you
only.
here.
Okay.
Appreciate it. This was a ball.
Good being with you.
And that's the pod for today. A supersized one. You made it. Thanks for listening. Squawk Box is hosted by Joe Kernen, Becky Quick, and Andrew Ross Sorkin. Tune in weekday mornings on CNBC at 6 Eastern to get the smartest takes and analysis from our TV show right into your ears. Please follow Squawk Pod wherever you get your podcasts. We'll meet you right back here tomorrow.
We are clear. Thanks, guys.